Now we unite as Science Besties.
Thursday, December 19th, 2024, and Star Trek Lower Decks is over. But we're just getting started here on Live Long and Podcast, a live stream review here on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. This is the finale of Star Trek Lower Decks, titled The New Next Generation. I'm Dave Mader, and I'm joined with my science bestie, Davan Skelhorn. How are you doing tonight, Davan?
Alas, we've seen the last of the mysterious threats, haven't we?
Yes, the mysterious threats for now, but I don't know. It's kind of left open-ended at the end of this show that maybe we'll see more of this crew and the Cerritos.
We have much to discuss.
Much to discuss. Spoilers ahoy, everybody. If you don't want to know about the finale of Star Trek Lower Decks, then this is not the podcast for you at the moment. But, if you are planning to watch it, come back soon and hear our take on it all. We're going to be breaking it all down. We got some comments here from Norman. Suddenly on the last episode of the season, character growth of Rutherford. Yeah, a lot of Rutherford in this episode. This is really tying up the whole season-long arc of these dimensional portals and seeing how all that kind of plays out here in the finale. So what are our headlines at this hour? What's the main thing that you're taking away from this episode, Davan?
Well, I think this is the main headline. Norman says it.
Starbase 80 is the new Deep Space Nine. Yeah, well,
in fact, after he watched it, our own Justin Velociraptor blew up my messages about it. He's like, "I was right.
Yeah, like
he had predicted that,
Right, because by the end of this episode, we get basically a wormhole, a portal of sorts that's kind of permanently opened here, and it can be used to explore different realities and of the multiverse. And Starbase 80, because it's made of a different kind of material, it's an older material, it's more suitable. Yeah, it's just old. You could just build a new base out of something of the same thing, but I guess no. Next time we'll bring over Starbase 80 and park it in front of this, kind of like Deep Space Nine. Like that. When they found the wormhole in the Bajoran system, they moved what was formerly known as Terra Nors briefly, and then Deep Space Nine for a couple days in orbit of Bajor before they moved it out to the Denorius belt, and that's kind of where it remained afterwards. So yeah, it's no character deaths. Everyone lives through this. Although we do get Captain Freeman leaving the Cerritos by the end of this show. We have Captain Ransom, not to be confused with Captain Rudy Ransom of the USS Equinox, who they've never confirmed if they're related or not. We're going to assume no. Now Mariner and Boimler move up into sort of first officer roles or something, or auditioning for the first officer role, respectively, between the two of them. So that is kind of in place by the end. Oh, Rutherford loses his implant, and gets, I guess his romance with Tendi is more heavily hinted at, but not fulfilled.
No, he doesn't have a motion inhibitor or whatever he called it.
yeah, and we'll see. And And I don't know, what was it? Was there anything else big that really happened here? I think.
Yeah, how strong Ransom is.
Oh yeah.
Like when the Klingon throws that punch and he just catches it. The Klingon's just like, how are you so strong?
Why is this human so strong? This does not make sense.
Which confirmed Ransom is stronger than a Klingon.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what a good workout routine will get you, people.
Right. Of course, Ma was back. The Klingon that Ransom stops there.
And Malor.
And his brother Malor, and yet another sibling of this family, this Klingon family that hates those two, more specifically Ma and his whole family, and that's back. And she's the sister of the two previous captains that he conflicted with, is looking for revenge, sort of apropos to the Duras sisters, perhaps.
I love her little targ.
Her little targ. Yeah, whatever the hell that is. I guess it's a targ.
A little baby targ, or maybe they have like Pomeranian breeds. Like they breed targs like we breed dogs, and they have little fluffy ones. And they have
I think it's meant to be like a breed of those. In Star Trek VI, Undiscovered Country, where they go to Rura Penthe and they have those gnarly looking dogs.
Yeah. One of those. Yeah, not a targ. It's one of those dogs. You're right.
Murphy's calling it a targua.
Like
a Chihuahua targ, perhaps.
Targwawa.
But I think it might be related to those gnarly dogs we see on Rura Penthe. Norman also saying, with Tendi and T'Lyn as the main science officers and Boimler as Mariner as the deputy first officers, I would have liked to have had Rutherford and Levick as the first after Billups. I guess maybe they are. I like he's bringing Levick in. Levick has one line in the episode. He's like, "I've never seen someone engineer that fast." Right. But we see that that they're kind of advancing in their careers here. But it's interesting that Boimler and Mariner are like junior grade lieutenants. They're outranked by Shax, for instance, but they're kind of moving into the command structure of the ship. Moving forward. So
Shax and T'Ana are gonna go have some freaky time in the holodeck.
They are. I had to pull that clip as it was just too good. Where's that? Shax and Tiana. Here it is.
Since we both have the afternoon off, want to play Sexy Treasure Island on the holodeck?
Only if I get to be Long John.
God, I love you.
Long John Blank. I don't know.
Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But I guess one thing I was happy with was that I thought that maybe this crew would get split up by the end of the episode, or there would be some sort of death. But no, that they're all except for Captain Freeman, who goes off to explore new realities with Mariner's father, Admiral Freeman. It's mostly kind of a happy ending. It's not anything too dramatic. With the safeties off, of course. Yeah, well, you can believe it. The safeties will be off in that holodeck with Tiana and Shax. Absolutely. I guess, let's run through the episode and then we'll kind of get to our feelings on it. But, there's, we have a whole previously on. So, this is kind of like a part two, and a conclusion to the whole arc of the season. But specifically to last week's episode, Fissure Quest, this really tying into it. So, setting up what we've seen all season here, these fissures that they're finding. Boimler obsessed with his alternate reality counterpart with the beard. The implant malfunctioning on Rutherford is covered in there. We see that, reminding us that the T'Lyn-Tendi science rivalry that, I thought was resolved, but is still kind of lingering a little bit. Of course, Ma and his feud with this Klingon family that he's been, killing one of them after the other.
I love how much we get of Ma, just in the season in general and in this show. They really made a friggin' great character arc out of him.
He is a great character. I love the way he delivers those lines. I love it. I also love the brother, who's completely different than him.
It's pretty great too. Yeah.
But Ma, very much a Worf kind of a character, right? This is the honorable thing to do, and he always wants to go into battle. And then you got Molor, who's
Malor.
Not
Molor. Molor would be the mythical figure, kind of
the brother of Kalis, wasn't it? So Of course. In the recap,
But
we see everything.
he's just a country boy that doesn't give it, like a farm boy. He doesn't give a shit about anything. Malor. He's like, I don't give a shit about
Malor.
Klingon shit. I don't give a shit. I just care if my grapes grow or whatever. They're like they're gach. They're gach farm.
But at the end, he's the one who comes up with the analogy of the dam that is the thing that helps them save the day. So he ends up mattering here. So, of course, we saw in the last episode the William Boimler, the transporter duplicate who was in the alternate realities, send this message to Bradward Boimler, and we're all gonna die, and that was all kind of covered. But which it gets kind of reiterated right after this. But then in the actual opening of the episode, we're on the edge of Klingon space.
Those bird of praise look good though. There were some glory shots of those bird of praise.
This is a particular variant that I've never seen. I don't think before.
It's huge.
I did love Tiana's line here.
Klingons hardly ever update their fleet designs. They always want their ships to look like big, stupid birds.
That might have been my favorite line of the episode.
They want their ships to look.
Why are those ships not changing? It's like, they might be.
They might be. We wouldn't know.
It's so hilarious. Oh god.
Yeah. So this Pomeranian.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, it is the dog with the horn.
Yeah. I don't remember the woman's name. This villain of
Relga, I think.
Relga. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Yeah, Relga. So Relga is yelling at her captain that that she's mad about being sent out here to patrol something dumb, and the High Council doesn't believe in her, and that she hates the Federation. All these kinds of things are kind of established in these early lines. Before,
the usual. The usual from a Klingon cat.
Right. Well, the High Council says the Federation are allies. Well, they're wrong and whatever. But then the fissure opens up here. Kind of what we saw in the previous episode, and like they're not afraid of it at first, so they're kind of going right at it. And we see that the energy, the red energy, I think they have a name for it in the episode, but that it changes this Klingon guy into a Discovery Klingon like style, and I was like, this is
I thought that
kiss.
was pretty funny.
Yeah, and you're like that. Like when you see the change right there,
when you see the difference. It's
Klingon, and then now
pretty stark.
It's pretty stark in those few moments there. You're like, and then the ship changes into the Discovery type of Klingon ship, which is I hate, by the way. I hate that ship design as well.
Oh yeah, me too. Like I see that as a little shade myself. But
yeah, it's a little bit.
They're throwing there.
Yeah, but I wonder if Kurtzman had to approve this or not.
Because they rarely mention Discovery on this show.
Right. Or anything to do with that era. You know? So we see here that, she's like, yes, we will. Relga, that is. She's out to know.
Oh, Murphy liked the old Klingon barge.
That was
the barge of the dead from Voyager.
That was a moment. Yeah, that was something that was interesting for sure.
It's hilarious. To me, it's like it turned into a Klingon barge. All hands lost.
Oh yeah, they're in space, so everyone just dies.
Oh,
could that happen to us? Yeah, you better watch out. So Star Trek Lord, that's our teaser for the episode. Of course, our title card. I was trying to see here if this is our final time seeing this big, space battle mashup. If there's anything new here, I don't know if there is for sure, but I'm sure the keen eyes out there are trying to look for whatever. Of course, you got Tholian, you got that whale probe, you got the Packlet ships, of course. You got the Apollo's hand, the crystalline entity, Romulan warbirds, Klingons and birds of prey. I don't know. There's even Borg cubes. So it's
What's the red one?
You mean over here?
Yeah.
That's a Packlet ship.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Packlet lump ship.
Clump ship. Yeah.
A clump ship. Yeah.
Clump ship. So good.
Clump ship.
Best parts. Yeah, so that's for that. We get our credits for the last time, I suppose, and then the title, The New Next Generation. As who is this voiceover? Is it? Oh, yeah, it's Ransom. Is giving us the log to start off the episode. As he's
fitting, when you see how it ends.
Makes sense. It ends up being a kind of a Ransom type episode almost. And so Ransom in the mess hall, give his log, but then we get all that. Hey, let's go to the holodeck, and I can be Long John whatever, and I love you, and Ransom just getting grossed out by it, right? And so he leaves the room. As we pivot over to the lower deckers, also in the mess hall, having on their pads or whatever. Rutherford very upset with his implant. And,
Like, is it just me or is Boimler always freaking out over a pad? And they're like, "That's not just you."
No, it's not just you. No. This cadet that Mariner was going at, he was like, I'm like, he's pretty old for a cadet. But, hey, never too late to start. So Rutherford is getting really angry here. He's very angry at like the Cerritos. He's falling out of love with the Cerritos.
I think I'm falling out of love with the Cerritos.
And how could that be? And we'll come back to that. Of course, we get, Mariner's like, hey, Boimler, your pad is ringing. You're getting a call. So he checks it. And this is what we saw in the last episode. He's looking at the transmission from his transporter duplicate, realizing everything that's happening and what's coming to their reality. And they're all going to die. Let's get the hell out of here. Is Boimler always freaking out over pad? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Where I think T'Lyn has the best line. Yes, that is the way it is. So, of course, Boimler and Mariner head up to see Captain Freeman and Ransom, and they're saying, hey, I know this is a long shot, but they're like, yeah, I believe you. We trust you. You're good officers. And they're like, you do? Yeah. Let's go find out what to do, right? No skepticism, none of that. They're just, they're running with it. And Boimler and Mariner now being looked at as important members of the crew, and this growth that they've had since the beginning of the show, kind of reiterated at us here. Meanwhile, we head over to Klingon space once again to check in on Ma and Malor, as they're, delivering blood wine somewhere,
Look at their pointy toes. Their claws. Claws on their feet.
Yeah, that's one thing that they have been showing in the animation a lot is that Klingons have more this pointy thing, kind of what was established in Discovery, right? Like they had talons and whatever. Although Michael Dorn never seemed to have that at all. All the time he was playing Worf, his hand was just like any other hand. But anyway, then they're ambushed here by Relga and her little fleet. I really like her flagship. It's a cool looking design. Especially I guess the head of it, if you will.
It almost looks like almost a mashup between a Bird of Prey and a Valdor class.
Yeah, like the front Valdor and the back is more standard Bird of Prey, but it's kind of a little bit of a mashup. Of course, Relga's Pomeranian or whatever going crazy, and they're here to take them out. Of course, Ma wants to fight, but Malor manages to kind of. Oh, and one thing that Relga does is say, "You're calling garbage. We're hauling wine. It's not garbage." But she's here to kill them for revenge of the death of her two brothers. Ma wants to fight, but
thank you for your case of sour mead.
You're and so and at one point, Ma's like, we're gonna ram their bridge with our ship, right? And Malor's like, no, we're not doing that. So they warp out over there.
This is such a rip at how quickly Klingons get to that point.
Yeah, he's like, we'll ram their bridge, and then we'll die with honor. Malor's like, no. So,
why is that plan A all the time? It's make that at least plan C.
Right. Despite he being Klingon as well, he just doesn't have those same instincts. So Relga's pissed off. She's got to chase them down. Meanwhile, on the Cerritos, they're trying to deal with how to deal with this, fissure issue and the portal. They're having a conference here with Starfleet, including some science commander who's not happy that a California class ship is involved in this. You got Admiral Freeman and whoever this alien was meant to be in the middle. I don't know if this was described to us in dialogue, but if it was, I didn't pick up on it.
Neither was Freeman, though. She's like, good thing they send other ships and not Cali classes to take care of these sorts of things.
You're well, actually, we are sending you, Yeah. So they give us all the science explanation about what's happening with the anomaly and how it's going to.
Do you know this species?
No, I don't know this. I don't think we've seen that before, but maybe.
Maybe a TAS thing.
Yeah, I could see that being a TAS it looks almost TAS.
Yeah, it does.
Anyway, so there's quite the stakes here, but basically the Cerritos has to pop over there and hit it. But as they get closer to the anomaly, they're going to get more messed up, so they need to adjust their shields in order to get through. That this anomaly can change anything, for the reality of it. Like as we saw with the Klingon got turned into the Discovery Klingon. You might get transformed into a cactus man or a salamander alligator or something. That's kind of shown to us visually here. And
that was totally a Voyager salamander.
It was totally a Voyager. Yeah, I believe it is as well. Anyway, so they are this weird looking alien with like a chef's jacket on too. Anyway, so you're going to send us, the Cerritos? Yes. You're the only ship close enough. And that they can make the
Cerritos strong.
Cerritos strong. And then everyone gets mad at Boimler that he's the one who got them into this mess. And he's like, it was William Boimler, not me. They're like, yeah, whatever. Because they're like, they're like, why can't you just send the Enterprise? And they're like, well, the Enterprise is busy or something. Anyway. Down in engineering, they're getting ready here. We see more of this Rutherford getting more frustrated with the Cerritos and everything else.
And with his implants.
It was his implants. They're also figuring out that the shield adjustments can be made, but the hull is not necessarily that easy to
What's her name again? I'm glad we get more of her.
Oh, Poppy? Is that her name? Or no, I should know it. It was only like 2 episodes ago.
Polly? Was it Polly?
Polly, I think is right, yeah. She's the one who's part Greek god or whatever. Now, of course, now she's in the like a yellow uniform. She's joined the engineering division, and so they're kind of figuring out what to do here. Then Ma and his brothers show up with the Cerritos, saying, Molor's like, we're requesting asylum, and Ma's like, no, we're not. We are not. We want to go fight, and with honor. Yeah, so they're all like fighting, wrestling each other on the view screen, and Captain Freeman's like, we have bigger problems right now than this, but let's bring them on board. And there's kind of this conference here. I think Moeller's just going to town on the snacks that they put out too. Throughout all, but kind of explaining that Relga's after them and everything else here, and Ollie, that's it, not Polly. Yeah. And that they're gonna have to hear it out. But then Relga shows up. Oh, and what is the thing other Moeller says here? He's like, these snacks are great. All our snacks are made out of bugs or whatever. They have sweet things and salty things. Like, who knew? So Relga and her Klingon squad show up and surround the Cerritos, and they're demanding extradition of the criminals, Ma and Molar, and they're like, well, I'm sure you can file a thing here, but anyway, it's kind of a tense conversation between the two of them. I guess Captain Freeman's more just annoyed by the whole thing, and she's like, I have a mission to go on, but Relga's really pushing it through. And then all of a sudden, Admiral Freeman gets on. He's like, are you denying the Klingons their extradition? Well, you need to do this right away. And, that's an order and whatever else. So, of course, like, this is obviously not Admiral Freeman, but apparently his wife and daughter can't tell. So, they're like, whoa, what do you mean we have to do it?
Carol can't tell. I think Mariner's like, he seems a little off or something.
He seems a little off, but yeah, I guess Captain Freeman's mind is elsewhere too, right? With worried about this mission that's coming to save all reality. That's all. It's kind of a big moment.
So it's a sweet glare though. She's
yeah. And says, okay, we're going to give you what you want or whatever, but they can't find Malor, right? He's kind of missing here. And so we'll find out later that Ransom's the one who kind of stashed him somewhere so that they couldn't, hand him over right away. And so this kind of boils over here with the, Captain Freeman does give the shield harmonics to Relga. That will come back. And then but
she immediately smashes it and says, I have no use for
I have no use for shield harmonics, Then she does, until she does. And so they end up attacking the Ma's ship, blowing the hell out of that. And, I guess whatever blood wine was on board, there was some great vintage included. But then, they're actually like attacking the Cerritos. So the Cerritos, hey, warp me. We get another Carol Freeman warp me moment here. She's
it's a good one of the best.
Warp me!
Yeah,
we'll talk about ransoms here at the end.
Yeah, his engage the core. I was like, that's pretty good. It's at least original, So anyway, so they have to go find Molor. While they're dealing with this anomaly that's growing stronger. T'Lyn gives us kind of an update that the hull is not adapting very well and that they can't quite deal with it. And so you see that it is affecting the Cerritos, even though the crew is not affected like that Klingon was. The ship is getting changed along the way. So at first we see the Cerritos turn into a one nacelle ship, Davan.
Freedom class.
A Freedom class ship, which is kind of, very similar to a Cerritos.
And I love how they question how it can go to warp. So they cut us off right when I get to the information I wanted to hear.
Yeah, well, this is we get we're like with one. Yeah, this is the exact moment. I had to pull this clip.
How do you even go to warp with one nacelle?
It's possible to project a warp bubble without dual nacelles. The only sacrifice is
You don't have time to nerd out about this, Lieutenant.
We don't have time to nerd out.
We don't have time for this.
But she asked the question: how could you even go to warp with one nacelle? Well, actually, you can, and so that's canon.
Care.
That's canon now, David. It can be done, but it's unconventional.
But we knew because there were one nacelle ships. Like we knew.
Yeah, but it seems like that is. But even if that fact that Captain Freeman's questioning it shows that it's pretty unusual for a ship to do it. Like it seems like it would be inefficient at least.
Like there's a whole class of them and no one knows how they work. Like, the other captains is like it's freaking voodoo. I don't know.
Exactly. But we had to see some cool designs here. I thought that this Freedom class was at least that deflector section is up way higher, compared to the Cerritos. As they're kind of going through this anomaly, trying to get there. They get changed again into kind of a closer to their Cerritos version, but we see the hull, the interior of the ship is changing. We got some of this wood panel, then turns into sort of this gold color.
Maybe says it's a wobbly warp bubble, like a unicycle. You just kind of teeter a little.
Yeah, I guess that's probably an apt analogy. That you can, you're better on a bicycle than on a unicycle, but you can do it. Yeah, I like that. I wish that Tendi had said as much. Anyway, so Rutherford can't fix these systems. He can't figure this out. His implant is causing major problems. He's falling out of love with Cerritos. Then the Klingon ship gets hit here. Oh yeah, and this is the moment where one of Relga's fleet gets hit with it and turns into a barge. It turned into a ship, and then we just see all the bodies.
It needed some sweet Klingon music there. It needed to come in like "Koi, Kayla, Spool, Blood, Koi,"
Yeah, well, it's the barge of the dead, literally here, as they all die from exposure, right away, which is kind of horrifying. And then there's this argument that comes up next here between Tendi and T'Lyn, more argument side from the Tendi side, where how to approach the problem, how to reroute the systems, and Tendi's like, it won't matter if it's more efficient if we're dead, and she's like, well, why? Maybe you should work on something else, and we should work on. No, we're supposed to be co-science officers. So they kind of this conflict here that will be resolved when the science besties will come together. But this dynamic's still playing out.
I love this dynamic. They're a great team.
Me too. I love it too. And you get this other side of Tendi gets upset or angry from time to time, but it's not normally her default thing. But she's but T'Lyn kind of brings it out of her sometimes, where she's like,
well, she slips into the old Orion every now and then.
Exactly.
Sometimes on purpose, sometimes not.
Yeah, this is the part where right after where Rutherford says he's falling out of love with the Cerritos and Tendi's trying to console him. So you get a good shot of this version of the Freedom class Cerritos or whatever. Yeah, I like it. I don't hate it. But
that's the Mirror Universe one or whatever, right?
No, that comes a little later. Yeah, we'll point that out. Then down in Cetacean Ops, we get Matt and I forget the other guy's name, but Anyway,
Like Shamu or something. Like Shamu and Mott or something.
Why is Boimler here spraying them down? How did he get this assignment?
Is there anything in the pool? Yeah, there is in the pool. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. They never explain that.
Yeah, why he's here. Save the jokes when we're not in moral peril, Matt. Sorry. So Ma's looking for his brother, coming on in here. Then they find out about on Boimler's alternate dimension pad that in the other dimension that something happened with Ma and his brother with Becky Freeman, the captain of that Cerritos, and that this gets Ma all upset that Freeman or that Mariner's holding out on him or something, and whatever. You need to tell me where he is. This is funny. They got work for extended periods outside of the tank. I guess so. That Klingon's hot. I noticed. That was hilarious. Like, shoot. Wait a moment. As the Cerritos is getting changed here again, this is where we get the Terran version of the Cerritos, with all of the extra guns and torpedo launchers and everything else. It's a much
It's like, these weapons are amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah. He looks down here. I had to pull that. Check here.
By the prophets, our weapons are amazing! No, weapons are down!
Oh, weapons are down. He was so excited to have these amazing weapons for just a few minutes to fight these Klingons.
Easy come, easy go.
Yeah, he was. I felt bad for him in that moment. He got another shot there of that Terran version of the Cerritos. He's got way more weapons platforms and guns on it, more than anything. And then that kind of that yellow Terran markings.
That symbol they have,
yeah. Anyway, so they're getting hammered here by the Klingon ships, the torpedo at their engineering section. And then this is where Tiana's like, maybe they are being affected. They all look like stupid birds. Anyway, so Ma's dragging Boimler here with the pad up here. And eventually, they're like, did you hide the brother? Are you hiding the brother? And Freeman says, no, it wasn't me. Then Boimler smashes the alternate dimension pad, saying he doesn't need it anymore. That he can figure this out on his own. There's kind of a cool, get the high five, live long style here, Davan, between Mariner and Boimler. It was kind of sweet.
Don't leave me hanging. Here, there we go.
Yeah, I guess I have to go like that. Okay, so then this is where Maz loses his mind. He's about to punch Boimler, I think, and then Ransom steps in, and he's like, "No way!" And he pulls him, "How is this human so strong? It makes no sense."
Love it.
Ransom's like, "You got to go with my workout routine. You just if you understand it, yeah. Engage the core." So eventually Ransom comes clean. He was the one who held the brother. He's like, clearly that message from Admiral Freeman was fake. Like, it was very obvious. So I was like, you didn't have that. You couldn't deal with it, but I could. So, then it kind of shows
fake messages from Admiral Freeman have showed up in this show. I feel like a lot.
At least once before.
At least once.
Where it's kind of revealed, that obviously Admiral Freeman is not himself, but rather Relga, that, was faking them. Short intensity workout. That's how he gets so strong. So they're getting attacked here. Relga is about to attack them, but then they don't have the shields or whatever. Or they've taken away their shield. Oh no, that's what they get. Ollie and this other.
This was awesome.
Yeah,
I'm glad she came back into play because we were looking for her last episode and she wasn't there.
Yeah, but this one the other one that Billups was hanging out with last episode is here now, helping her.
And Barnes is back to normal.
Barnes, no longer Cro-Magnon or whatever she was. So they throw a lightning bolt at Relga's ship here from Ollie, which was really fun.
Super cool.
Yeah, I like this moment. And then their shields go down. They don't have the protection from the anomaly. And then what happens? They're enveloped with that energy, and then their ship all get changed into like proto Klingons, basically, like we saw in the episode where Barclay turns into a spider. I never remember that. Is it can't remember the name of the episode, but we won't be covering that for a few years here on the channel. I think that's in season 7. The dog turned into a clam? Is that what happened?
Yep.
I'm like, okay. And well, at least for a moment here, yeah. But pretty gnarly looking proto Klingons here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't want to go to the Kronos like millions of years ago or whatever the hell this was when these things were wandering around.
Just murdering each other. Like they just all turn on each other instantly because they're proto Klingons, and I guess that's what they do.
Yeah, they just fight even more. They're mindless and just completely savage. And then they just kind of blow up from the inside, and that is the end of Relga and her Pomeranian or whatever that she had there, or maybe the clam survived. Who's to say? You know. And anyway, so the Cerritos gets changed again here, now into a sovereign class version.
So we get all sovereign class.
Yeah, which it's never been my favorite design. It's not my least favorite. You know, I definitely prefer the Galaxy class, but you know, Sovereign's nice too.
You like the fat one?
I like the fat one. You know, we even get the bridge here, like that kind of first, like, you know, that Enterprise E style bridge, and whatever else is there. Moving along.
It does look cool flying around though, the old Sovereign class.
Yeah, it does. It has a certain aesthetic to it, especially the further away you are from it. It's
cool from the back.
Yeah, I like it, but I prefer the Galaxy. But
it just doesn't look like the flagship.
Yeah,
that's the only thing about the Sovereign class.
It looks more militaristic as well.
Yeah.
But then it gets turned into an Oberth class.
Yeah,
briefly here. You know, and then into a Galaxy class.
Yeah.
For briefly. You know, we kind of see here with Rutherford as he's going through all the options, we get to see sort of like the different deck plans transform. The Galaxy class turns briefly into like a Soyuz class or a Miranda class. Then I think back into a Galaxy class, or maybe this is Ambassador class. Another variant of that Miranda class, and then finally back into California class, as they're kind of back into normal here. And this is where Rutherford, you know, decides he's going to tear off his implant and pull it out. He doesn't need it anymore.
Engineer faster than you've ever seen.
Yeah, this is, you know, thing.
There is no better ship. The Cali class rules. We're perfect for this! These Callies were designed for all sorts of functionality. We can reconfigure systems better than anyone!
Whoa! I've never seen someone engineer that fast!
I've never seen somebody engineer that fast!
It's kind of like what I've always said about the Klingon Marauder ships, is they're super modular, and that's what makes them awesome. It's like, same with these Cerritos class. It's like they have no specific function, so they're just kind of adaptable to every situation. And they should build more like that.
Well, that's kind of what Rutherford says. You know, like we're meant to do anything. We're kind of like the catch-all ship. You know, we're not specialized. You know, in that sense, right? So, and then the Cerritos gets bifurcated into two versions, two realities. Here is like, you know, two possible outcomes. Each one controlling the other. So, like the helm of
they're superpositions.
They're superpositions. Yeah,
which is some legit science. That's some good stuff.
And we get this kind of this cool moment here with T'Lyn and Tendi as they, you know, have to come together to figure out how to solve the plan.
Relinquish control. Trust each other. Before, we had to prove ourselves. Now, we unite as Science Besties.
Great moment.
Loved it.
As the Cerritos is the two...
I just love those two so much. Those are the best. They're just the best, man. They couldn't have picked two greater characters to team together.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun every time they come together, and then, you know, they're eventually so the two Cerritoses and then the crew are brought back together. Then Molor shows up on the bridge. You know, kind of whoa, there's a lot going on here. As the anomaly is doing more energetic stuff, they hit it with the beam that they've been told to hit it with, and it's starting to work, but not quite enough. It's taking over. There's a kind of a flood here, and then this is where Molor's like, on the farm, if there's a flood, you don't try to stop it. You do, actually. You create a dam.
You stop it differently, Dave.
you accept that you can't stop it, but then you do stop it with a dam. And then Mariner's like, yeah, that's it. And I was like, okay, sure, damn it.
She presses like 2 buttons. I love Star Trek in that way. Like whenever they have a plan, it's just like boop boop. Yes, the computers are very intuitive.
Oh, you mean press the 2 buttons? Okay. But then the beam coming out of the Cerritos goes from blue to yellow, or green even, and I guess that's what was needed.
Got to adjust those phase modulations.
Indeed.
Fixes everything, really.
And the anomaly then turns into this stable portal,
which looks super cool.
Yeah, with like the orbits or whatever's going on with it. Like it's very, very unique looking.
Yeah.
And there's kind of this great moment here. They've come together, the brothers. There's the I don't know, like Captain Freeman and Commander Ransom and
Brothers of House Mach.
Klingons don't hug. Shut up. You know. Then they're looking at the portal. Another fleet has shown up here, including I think I see like a Luna class,
Sovereign there,
a Sovereign, 2 Sovereigns, or 2 Callies rather, 2 Callies, and I think 2
3
Lunas.
Callies.
No, I think this is
no. Oh, and there's like whatever the like Akira class or whatever with it, right?
It's either the Akira class or the Luna class, from like the one that like the Riker Titan. But anyway, so we see that Ma is now in. We'll get a kind of a voiceover. Ma has now taken over Relga's fleet. What's left of it. He's now captain. His brother is now here.
He's got a proper sized one of those dogs.
Yeah, he's got like a good sized Targ, not that weird looking one like Relga. So Ma's gonna go off to do Klingon stuff, I guess. You know, I would love to see that character again in some form, live action or animated. And and the portal is stable now, so they need a kind of a gateway here, and there's only one base that can do it. Starbase 80.
Starbase 80. Get out your decon gel, everybody.
Yeah, very unique. So I guess like the Kali classes help like kind of tractor beam it over from wherever it was.
But like, how long would that take? That would take an insane amount of time, unless you can tractor it from like
warp?
Tractor it and warp it. That thing's crazy. Something so big.
That seems hard to do. So like,
yeah,
unless it was
like,
already
warp
in the
bubble
the
would
system.
have to be huge, and like maybe you could link a bunch of ships together and create a warp bubble that way.
Maybe, but yeah, they don't. We don't get to really see how that all plays out. So I don't know. I'll have to figure that out later. Of course, the
Defiant Glass,
the William Boimler and the Axamander or whatever.
Axamander. That's a scientist's name.
Yeah, they show up in the next. They show up coming through and docking at Starbase 80, and we see here that Captain Freeman has been offered this chance to go explore new realities. You know, so she's leaving the Cerritos, saying goodbye to the ship. Gets a hug here from Tiana and from Shax as well, and then this kind of a goodbye here with Mariner and Freeman. I'm sure they're going to see each other again, but saying she's proud of her and that she made it. She come a long way since she first joined the crew of the ship. It's a nice moment, I think, between them. And then of course Admiral Freeman shows up. He's an admiral, but no one's here to carry his bags. He's got 2 arms.
Anaximander was a Greek philosopher, the first to develop cosmology.
Actually, Justin hit us with that in the previous episode. Anyway, so the Freeman family united here as they head off to get ready to go off to Starbase 80, meeting up with Cassius, Commander Cassius, I believe, from Starbase 80. We're scrappy little underdogs. Arf, arf. So,
you get hot dogs.
And get ready for that homemade decon gel, which Admiral Freeman's like, what? Oh, yeah. We're rubbing it down. Back on the Cerritos, Rutherford shows up here and scaring the hell out of Tendi. He's had his implant removed. He's got a new eyeball. And, he's very handsome, I guess, to Tendi.
It's like, it doesn't look that different. Like, there's isn't something over his eye.
Yeah. Well,
he had blush. He had like blushing like inhibitors.
Yeah, he was blushing and whatever, and then Tendi's trying to medically examine him, and I don't know. She's very oblivious to all this apparently, but anyway.
It's not how they do stings on Orion.
I guess not. Anyway, so. Then Mariner's like, we have the greatest crew here. Like we have so much bench strength, and she's talking about all like the different crew members. We get kind of this montage of the lower deckers, where of course Mariner and all them started off on this show. There's the poker game here, and you're like, I do know these characters. That guy with the eye patch, I remember his episode, I think. And down here in engineering, where the badgie kind of changes for a second, and then they go, oh yeah, it's fine. Down in Citation Ops, I think Stevens jumps in with them here. People jump.
Some Bajoran there.
Yeah, Bajoran, but then some guy jumps out of a portal, and Tiana's like, whatever,
Isn't that what's his name? Yeah, that's the guy. Isn't that the guy who ascended?
Oh, maybe is that who? Maybe it's the guy who ascended.
Yeah, now that's why he's on fire, because he was just like, it's burning. Why is it burning? So when you come out of being ascended, you're also burning.
So he's descended now.
He's back.
All right. I didn't know who he was when he came. So
that's totally who that is.
Yeah. Then I don't know, like you got Kayshawn and Miglamo here getting sprayed with this plant or whatever.
It's delicious.
It's delicious. What a metaphor it could be, So
seek out strange new meals.
Strange new meals. I cook the mind. More
like a chef of the mind.
More twaining here on the holodeck with the crew. I don't know. It's kind of just a fun little montage where they're like, ha, 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 whatever. The Beverly anaphasic candle group here. I was like, I wanted to see where this was going more than anything. I wanted to just, as they cheer for the candle coming on here. Jody's gonna love this. He's a huge Sub Rosa fan. So. You muted? Can't hear you. You can hear me.
I'm back, baby.
Oh, you're back. Okay. Anyway, so we got kind of this the lower deckers coming up in like their final kind of turbolift moment. They're coming up to the bridge, splitting up here as it's revealed to us the new captain of the Cerritos is Ransom. And I was kind of wondering, maybe Billups would be the first officer, but no, that's not what happens here. And Ransom's like, hey, Shax, Captain Freeman told me to never let you eject the warp core unless it will be awesome. Yes. I can't remember what he says here.
No, he says unless you deserve it.
Unless you deserve to. Yeah.
Yeah, unless you deserve it.
Hey, let's go check out some science stuff. I don't know. They're all kind of. I was like, I want to keep going here with Captain Ransom. I want to see where this goes. What kind of captain he would be comparatively, Anyway, so they're saying he's like, hey, I need my first officer, and this is where he pitches Boimler and Mariner that they could be kind of co-first officers, or audition for the role until he figures out who to permanently give it to, provisional. Which they're not excited about. They just want to be, lower deckers or whatever. But Ransom's saying no, but
we're still lower decks. No, you're in charge of the lower decks. Grab a seat.
I like, especially Mariner. She's so pissed off that you have to sit there, in one of those chairs. It's hilarious. As this,
more responsibility. Yay.
As the Cerritos kind of goes off here, Captain Freeman looks at the ship. She's hanging out here with the William Boimler and that crew, and they say goodbye to the Cerritos as they head off to their adventures. And he's like, "I need some kind of warp phrase. What could that be?"
Yeah.
All right.
You gotta have
engage the core.
Engage the core. No.
They're all like, "No, don't paint us with that brush.
No,
we don't want to be that crew."
Yeah. Yeah, we do. We're engaging the core. Yeah, we are. I was like, all right, this is all right. As they go up, they warp off. They and that is the finale, guys, of the show. So, Davan, how do you feel about this as a finale? Yeah, pretty good.
I give it an 11.
Yeah, I like the last episode was really good too, and this didn't. I was a little surprised with where this went into some degree. You know, I thought there was gonna be something that with them meeting up with the William Boimler ship or something, but that
I'm glad that didn't happen. That's why I loved this episode so much, because you know I don't care so much about mirror universe and alternate universe kind of stuff generally, and so yeah. But I still liked it in the last episode. I still gave the last episode a 10, but I'm glad they kind of pushed that aside and let the Cerritos crew shine in their final episode. You know.
Yeah, and which makes sense, complete sense, right? And they all do. They all get a chance. They all get a moment to shine.
You know what I thought was going to happen though, because I thought they were going to do the ultimate spoof on Enterprise, and when they were turning into all these different ships, and they finally turned into the Enterprise D, I thought it was just going to be like the Enterprise crew for the rest of the episode. Like, this is gonna like shit like the last lower decks. Yeah, exactly. Hence the new Next Generation. It would just be like, yeah, the lower decks would just end as a TNG episode too.
Yeah, you know, like I really have a lot of affection for these characters, and you know, I want to see more. I know we'll get probably them in comic book form or whatever in the future.
Like just in comparison, not to like poo-poo Discovery too much, but look at the character development they put into the crew in just this little cartoon that Discovery couldn't do. Like, I know more about like Barnes and Ollie than I know about like Washington or any of the like people who were on the bridge, like Detmer, any of them,
or
any
Lieutenant Reese. I agree with you. Like,
yeah.
But even of the characters, like even Tilly, I don't feel like I know Tilly that well.
No, these characters feel way more real than Discovery characters, which has kind of been my beef with Discovery. Like, nobody feels like a real person.
Well, I just think those dynamics on this show, like the character part of Discovery, I think is the hardest thing, because it's a very plot driven show a lot of the times, but then the character stuff doesn't work as well. But I think that this show was so character focused that it really shines, you know. And then they throw them into this situation, that situation. Like, the circumstances aren't as important as how you deal with the circumstances. I think that's always the way I look at least Star Trek episodes, and how you look at a crew, because you know what, maybe you're dealing with war, but
yeah, it kind of took the DS9 approach, where it just took all these very different characters and made them all mingle with each other. Like, some of the other shows probably did that a little less. You just had characters that kind of grouped off and interacted with each other. Like Tom hung out with Harry or B'Elanna, and
right.
You know, and like they all had their like groups they would hang out with. This show, I mean, they did that to a degree because there's the main lower deckers, but they really kind of try to give like them with episodes with different groupings.
And those senior officers that kind of, you know, like Mig Lamo. I feel like I know Mig Lamo. I feel like I know Kayshawn to a certain extent, you know, and even Ollie and some of these other ones, right? And even those Delta ship people whose names I don't remember, I kind of know who they are, you know, which is nice.
Exactly. Like,
so
they all get good moments.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see if there's any trivia or Easter eggs to speak of here. Obviously we talked about like the Discovery Klingon. This is the second of 2 season series finales to invoke the title of the Star Trek The Next Generation, the first being the Picard episode, The Last Generation. The Klingons are on the IKS Kurtas, as well as the ship itself, are transformed by the effects of the rift into their 23rd century alternate physiology and designs as seen in Discovery, of course. Okay. And that's all I have in terms of trivia or any kind of Easter eggs. You know, it's always hard.
Can we get into our theories now then?
Yeah. Theorize.
All right. So here's the thing. So the big thing is people are saying it sets up for a DS9 style sequel with Starbase 80B and DS9.
Oh.
And I kind of hope that's true, but in a way, I don't think it's very likely. I think what they did was actually make it look like that, but kind of tie it up neatly instead. Like, because of all the characters in this show, you would think to get a sequel, you probably wouldn't guess Captain Freeman, and especially have her front 2 shows. Like, she wasn't the main character in the show, but she was the captain of this show. And then you're going to make that same character the captain of another whole entire show. That would be the first time that's ever happened. And I don't think that's going to happen. I like Freeman. and I'd be fine with that. But I also don't care about multiverse stuff, so I don't really want a show that is just that. It would just be like a what if show, and like
like if it got me those, like I wouldn't say no to it, but it's not. I would rather just keep going with the Cerritos, honestly.
Yes, me too. And then they could drop by Starbase 80 every now and then and see what Carol's doing and go on some crazy multiverse adventure if they want. But yeah. This show could have gone another 3 seasons easy.
Like the other thing, now that they've established that this portal is now there permanently and Starbase 80 is on the outside, I'm curious to see how like live action Star Trek deals with this, or if they ever choose to deal with it. And
how huge thing. Like, huge. It's like the Celestial sticking out of the ocean in the MCU that nobody talks about.
Right. We can go to any reality. We just have to like fly through this thing and go to another dimension anytime we feel like it.
But can you control it? Like,
well, that's the thing is what are the implications of having something like that? Where you have all these doppelgangers trying to come through, and like, just
they got to start doing some serious science over there on Starbase 80.
I think so, yeah. Like, so, like maybe that's more of the show is like, or something to deal with the aftermath of this, even if it's like 20 years after these events or something. Like how did this change the galaxy? How did this change the Federation and Star Trek? Like sort of their way of doing things.
But I do say the way this ended, I had hope that there'd be some sort of follow-up cartoon or even a live action sequel to this show, but no, I think that's it. The way it ended, I think that's it. It makes me sad, but we're not going to see these characters really anymore unless Mariner shows up on Strange New Worlds again or something like that.
Yeah, I feel like the live action versions of these characters could pop. I could see Jack Quaid being brought back to play Boimler again, live action again. I would love to, and probably Tawny Newsome as well. All of them, any of them, I think could like
live action Miglamo.
Live action Miglamo, that would be trippy.
Terrifying.
It'd be terrifying. This just big giant parrot coming at you, like, and he wants to eat all your food, whatever else. Like the live action Tiana and Shax. Like, do you want to see a man have sex with a cat? Here we go. Like,
sound off in the comments.
Yeah. Do you want to see that? I'm not sure I do, but it's like that. It's hilarious, as well. So anyway, I think that's all of our trivia and speculation, unless we have anything else there. I couldn't find anything. So
it was a good run, Lower Decks. I loved every second of it, pretty much.
Pretty much, like
probably my highest rated show overall by far, because I give
with
most
the exception of
10s.
Badgie, which I think is like the one thing.
Yeah,
I really
Badgie's the worst one.
And even like the conclusion with Badgie, I think is fine. It's just like they were really trying to make him a thing, especially in the first couple of times he was out. And I was like, no, this is not a character I need to see all the time. Anyway, let's put a score down. Of course, I think Murphy is giving this.
Joke's on us. The sequel is going to be a Badgie show.
Oh God. Okay. So Murphy gave an 11. You're going 10. You said
11.
You're going 11 as well.
Oh yeah, I love this one.
Yeah, I'm going 10. I liked it a lot. And Justin, I'm sure he's going to give it a 10, but I won't speak for him here.
He won't give it an 11. There was no data.
Oh yeah, that's right. But yeah, obviously I loved it. I think we all kind of loved it to some extent. Well, Norman gave it 9.5. What would you have liked to see a little different? What would have brought it to a 10 for you, Norman? If you're still listening. Data. Maybe that's
everyone just wants data all the time.
So we're averaging a 10.7 on IMDb as of right now. This has a 9 out of 10.
It's funny though, we never get a conclusion to the big Agamus Peanut Hamper team up.
No, they kind of like left that out there, right? So, but
they would be hilarious in live action. Those two show up on Strange New Worlds or something. It would be pretty funny. I mean, it'd have to be a timey-wimey thing.
Yeah, it would be. Like, I would like to see any of these characters again in any form, and I think we will. Yeah, it'd be great. So anyway, I'm sad it's done. We're gonna do a kind of a whole series look back sometime soon, probably after Christmas, but and kind of a retrospective of the entire series. Talk about what our top episodes were. Quite a few of them are in this season 5. In particular, this episode and the previous episode, Fissure Quest, which are both scoring over 10 right now with some really high marks. A lot of the finales of a particular season, or even the intros of certain seasons,
like that one that was like a movie, was fantastic. Remember that one? Like they're doing the movie.
That was the A Farewell to Farms.
No,
you mean the one?
That's not what I mean. We're like, it's like. There even has the credits. Beckett Mariner as Mariner.
You mean Crisis Point?
Oh, Crisis Point. Yeah, that's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, and there's Crisis Point 2 as well.
Yeah.
There's Crisis Point. There was even the one with Peanut Hamper and the Birdman, and like the mathematically perfect redemption. Like there's some great moments in this show, and that episode's pretty polarizing because people either hate that episode or love it. It seems like, but I love it. I wouldn't have thought so.
I thought it was pretty great too, actually.
Yeah. So, we'll talk about this in the deep dive, but right now our average for season 5 is 9 out of 10.
Wow.
Which, season 3
is also great.
It was great, yeah. And so the closest is season 3 at 8.7 out of 10 average. Season 2 was 8.5, and season.
I mean,
4,
they took Lower Decks in this season and basically added more T'Lyn and more Klingons.
More T'Lyn, more Klingons, more alternate versions, more multiverse stuff, more growth of the characters overall. Mm-hmm. So yeah, but when we're just focusing on this particular episode and this finale, I think it was great. It was satisfying. It's not like, I don't think I'm going to hold it up there with like All Good Things or something like really epic, because they just don't have time for it, right? I think ultimately
it's just also not that kind of show.
It's not that kind of show either, yeah. So, but
they're not trying to hit you that hard in the feels or in the
truth is, like, I don't think any Star Trek TV finale comes even close to that, to the TNG finale. It's such a strong ending to that show, and like I think the Deep Space Nine finale is decent, and I think that the Voyager finale is okay, but
Voyager finale is really rushed,
and it's kind of a cheat with all the time travel and all this kind of stuff and whatever. But
I love the DS9 one myself.
It's good.
There's a lot of like the cave full of fire and all that kind of stuff you might not be as into, but
yeah, it's okay.
Tied up
it's a satisfying end, I think, to that show. But on the other hand,
it wasn't as encapsulated
the funny thing was that we're about to do like the Star Trek Generations script read in a couple days, and I think Brandon Braga and Ronald D. Moore wrote both of those things side by side at the exact same time, and it turned out All Good Things just ended up being way better than Generations as a script. Not that I think Generations is bad, but I'm sure they would have rather
script isn't very tight.
Yeah, the script's not that tight, and the story's whatever a little bit, compared to All Good Things, which really just makes you think. And I think that's what you always want out of a Star Trek installment, is like, did you really make you think? The fact that it's not kind of a traditional bad guy, we're just going to fight the bad guy and whatever, and that's it, which is what a lot of the Star Trek movies are, because they're like, we need a con.
We get some epic bad guys out of those, though.
We get some epic
Kangs and
but sometimes I'm like,
whales.
Let's just go save the whales, man. Like,
George and Gracie were the villains of that movie. Hot take.
Yeah, that guy that was like telling, what's her name? The guy who worked at the Institute with, what's her name? Christine? Jill. Jill, yeah. Anyway, let us know what you thought of this episode, guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, check out all our great content, including, Davan has been leading the 12 debates of Christmas here on the channel. I think you just put up episode 9, tonight as well.
Here, I'll hit you with a little Christmas tunes. Get you in the mood.
There you go. So check out that. Looking back at the best of our Star Trek debates under the Debate 9 banner. We also, as we mentioned, we have the script read coming up on December 29th as we're doing Star Trek Generations. Got Davan playing Kirk. My brother's playing Picard. I'll be playing Data. Many others coming in. We've got Sean Farrick from TrekCulture.com coming in to be our Dr. Tolian Soren. And so looking forward to this.
It will be fun.
It will be fun. Yeah. So you get to die in this one, Davan.
Oh, well, you know. I've already died on the inside.
But you get to... Did you really live? Is the question. Of course, we just covered the Star Trek Section 31 trailer, the second trailer that came out, and we'll be talking about that movie in January when it comes out.
Did watching that trailer make you hyped for that particular property?
Hype to a degree, yeah. Like I was marginally interested and excited with it. So not
right.
So, but I still think they have a long way to go to make this character. To make me like this character because of who
it should be impossible.
It should be impossible, but maybe they're gonna. She's
worse than Gul Dukat, you could argue.
Maybe, but I think that based on what I saw in the trailer, you get a lot of her backstory, and perhaps that's gonna help.
Gul Dukat never ate people.
He never ate people. He never went that far. He did a lot of other bad things, but
very many bad things. Gul Dukat is not a nice man. Don't be his friend. Wonderful performance, but
what would Mirror
glorify Dukat
be like though? So
Mirror Dukat be a great guy. He'd be like the opposite of an egoist. Like he'd be this like selfless monk.
Yeah, he'd be like that's probably true. Of course, we're about to go into our third season of the Orville. That's starting up on January 6th. The new Orville New Horizons, Electric Sheep. So look out for that. We just finished up season 2. Of our reviews there, and we'll be back with our Star Trek: The Next Generation reviews pretty soon. We're not quite sure when Strange New Worlds is coming back, so we're gonna.
They're just saying spring or summer right now.
Right, so it sounds like we'll have some time to get some next gen episodes in the new year as well before that kicks up. So so all kinds of great content. Like, subscribe, check out. We always talk about Star Trek in some form here on the channel, and we like and respect all of you, and we appreciate all of the support we get here. And look out for our final installment of Lower Decks, kind of looking at it as a series retrospective. We'll bring back Jeff Mader and Jaemeel and those who have been on this podcast over the last 5 years, who have helped review these episodes. As they were there, those two were with me right at the beginning when we first started reviewing these episodes. So I think they also have to go and binge the show in order to get caught up. So that is also on their homework list for the holidays. Anyway, what do we play out on? I know what it is. It's this one. There's no better ship. And we'll see you next time here on Live Long and Podcast. Have a good one.
Now we unite as Science Besties.
There is no better ship. The Cali class rules. We're perfect for this. These Calis were designed for all sorts of functionality. We can reconfigure systems better than anyone.
Whoa! I've never seen someone engineer that fast.
Never met Charles O'Brien.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.